Hi guys. Today we're going to talk a little bit about non-chord tones. I'm going to introduce them to you. The textbook will break this into two sections, which is chapter 12 and chapter 13. I'm going to introduce all of them to you now, and then we will go back and in later work take them apart a little bit further. A non-chord tone is also called a non-harmonic tone. Means the same exact thing. I think non-chord tone is sort of the favored lingo these days, but when I was in school, it was a non-harmonic tone, same thing. Now, basically what a non-chord tone is some kind of embellishment that doesn't belong to the chord with which it is sounded. And there are different types of these non-chord tones, and I included on your Canvas page a handout from the learnmusictheory.net website about non-chord tones, and that's what I'm going to be referring to here. The most common type of non-chord tone is the passing tone. And a passing tone is just basically a note that fills in the gap between two consonant pitches. It's a dissonant pitch that fills in the gap between two consonant pitches and does so by step. So let's say we're in C major and our melody wants to go from E to C, but we want to connect E to C. So we might do this. Now, for just a brief moment, we have a dissonance. Because the note that I'm playing in my right hand is D, and that does not fit with a C major triad. So this is a non-chord tone, and specifically it's a passing tone. And I'm staying with C major here just because it's easy and it's also what is on the page. But another type of non-chord tone, very common, is called a neighbor tone or neighboring tone, or if you go back a ways in textbooks, you will find it called an auxiliary tone. Essentially what it is a note which embellishes a single note or single tone. So let's say we're on C major again, and then we move up to a D, and move back to the C. The D again creates a dissonance. This is a different type of non-chord tone though, because instead of moving to another pitch, it returns to the one from which it started. Another type of non-chord tone that's very, very common, we hear it in all types of music, is the suspension. A suspension starts as a chord tone, then becomes a non-chord tone as it is metrically accented so that it has a strong beat quality to it. And then it resolves down by step. So in a nutshell, here's what we have. Let's say we have a 4 chord and we're going to 1. But that F hangs on and only resolves after the chord has switched to the 1 chord. So we would say that's a suspension. And in particular, this one would be called a 4-3 suspension because the F is suspended a fourth above the tonic note, which is C, and resolves by step down to a third above the tonic note, which is C. So we would say 4-3 suspension. You can have different types of suspensions. The 4-3, 7-6. even 9/8 and 3/2. They are determined just by where the suspended note lies above the tonic pitch and where it resolves to. But a suspension will always resolve down, will resolve down. Now, very similar is something that's called a retardation. It's nothing but a suspension that resolves up. Again, back in my day, we didn't call them that. We just called them all suspensions. But somewhere along the line, someone decided they needed to differentiate, so there we have it. So here we have a 7 chord with the B in the soprano, and now we're going to switch to a 1 chord, C major, but that B still hangs on and resolves up. So suspension, chord changes, suspension resolves down, retardation, chord changes, resolves up. I think we're going to just stop right there for now. I think that's enough. That's what's covered in chapter 12, and we'll come back with this a bit later with chapter 13. But I think if you can get passing tone, neighbor tone, suspension, and retardation in your mind for now, that's going to be good. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll be back.